Hello. Right now it is August the 16th and it is 9:57 p.m. So the thing I want to talk about, and by the way, first of all, I just want to let everyone know that they have to ask my dad, the greedy framer, this question. As soon as he comes in tomorrow, he has to be asked this question of why he wasted the court's time for almost a year, deceiving them into thinking that he did not believe the brain savant money existed the entire time for months, almost a year or so, before he finally let it known on February 17th at 3:02 a.m. that he did definitely believe in the brain savant money. For almost a year, daily, he deceived the courts into thinking that he didn't believe the artificial intelligence report was true. He didn't think artificial intelligence was reliable. He didn't believe the report at all, and he thought that artificial intelligence might have been lying and that these tools to lock up my brain savant didn't exist. It had nothing to do with my brain savant, and that he wasn't, well, obviously he was trying to play the game that I'm not here to make sure my son's mother doesn't get any of the money I can't get either game. And so for almost a year, this psychotic, deranged, pathological liar, my dad, the greedy framer, deceived the courts every single day into thinking that he didn't believe the artificial intelligence report was real, that it had no credibility, that it was false, and that it was basically the brain savant didn't exist, or for some odd reason I wouldn't be able to use it. Something along that lines where the brain savant wasn't even there. He played this game for almost a year before February 17 at 3:02 a.m. before he finally made his list. And this question has to be asked to him the first thing he comes in tomorrow. Why did he play this game for so long? Take up the court's time into thinking that he didn't believe the brain savant money even existed. The brain savant didn't have any potential for any money, and that it was all just false and a lie. Why did he play this game every single day, make jokes about the brain savant, say that he didn't think it existed on July the 7th, be like, he can't do it. He won't be able to get zero tolerance coffee done in 30 days, only for July 9th for him to start sending me blackmail price tags for millions of euros, millions of euros all day long, only because June 24th was overanalyzed. But the question that has to be asked to my dad, the greedy framer, is why did he play this game with the courts for so long before February 17th, where he deceived the courts before February 17th at 3:02 a.m. into believing that the brain savant money didn't exist, the brain savant didn't exist, and that, that for some odd reason, apparently, I have some sort of psychic powers due to which I'm able to predict what the artificial intelligence report says about my brain savant, and that it doesn't even exist in reality inside my brain for some odd reason. Let me show you guys something. Okay, this is August the 11th at 3:11 p.m. He's telling me that he's gonna find me a woman from his in-laws for me to sleep with. This is August the 12th at 1:41 p.m. He's telling me that he's going to find a woman from his in-laws for me to sleep with. Again, same Empower commercial. And this is August the 13th at 10:47 a.m. He's telling me once again that he's going to find a woman from his in-laws for me to sleep with. It's only after August the 13th this offer stopped. So either artificial intelligence was just like, whoa. I think I made an error right there. The brain savant actually doesn't exist. I'm just totally wrong about that. I'm so sorry, guys. My fault. My fault. Artificial intelligence said that. Maybe. Or, this is a really funny one. He asked the in-law, whom he was apparently trying to get me to sleep with, if she was willing to sleep with me in exchange for illegal assurance of money, and she yelled the crap out of him. It could be either or. It could be either or. I don't know. But considering the fact that my neighbor this morning was trying to hit on me, saying that my blinds were closed by having her dog bark outside my window, I'm guessing artificial intelligence didn't say that. Well, it would have been pretty funny if he did. And if artificial intelligence was just like, whoa, 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 you guys. I'm so sorry. I think I've made a mistake right here. My fault. Brain Savant actually doesn't exist. I thought, that could have been the case. It could either been that or he actually asked the woman and he got brutally rejected by her. But consider the fact that my neighbor this morning still had her dog bark on my window to try to hit on me, saying that my blinds were all fully closed. I'm guessing artificial intelligence didn't take his word back, even despite all the torture he's been going through from morning till night. I think my dad, the Goody Framer, asked the woman who was supposed to be sleeping with me from his in-laws if she was willing to sleep with me or not. This is how psychotic this man is. He got yelled the crap out by her. The crap out by her, which is why the ad suddenly stopped after August 13th. And I was just sitting there and I was just thinking, like, oh my God, what if this is what happened? I mean, August 11th, he's offering me a woman from his in-laws right over there. Same thing happens. August 12th, 1:41 p.m. He's offering me a woman from his in-laws right over there. And then August 13th, he's offering me a woman from his in-laws right over there. And then suddenly he just stops. And I'm just like, son, one of two things could only happen. Either A, artificial intelligence is just like, whoa, 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 you guys. I think I made a mistake. Or he actually asked the woman and she yelled the crap out of him. And I'm going to go with he asked the woman and she yelled the crap out of him. But you have to understand that a man who's been growing a beard to try to claim that he's a very religious, spiritual individual, who's very pious, by the way, would actually go and ask someone and ruin his reputation after already offering all his sisters and his ugly, old, disgusting looking wife. Now he went and called someone from his in-laws to try to ask her if she was willing to sleep with me or not, and he got yelled the crap out by her. The only question that I really have to ask is, why did you waste the court's time on a daily basis by making the courts think that you didn't believe that there was any monetary value to the Brain Savant that existed till February 17th at 3:02 a.m.? Obviously, he tried to make the courts think that there was no monetary value to the Brain Savant existing. Artificial intelligence was a liar, and somehow I was psychic enough to predict what the report basically said about my Brain Savant, even really minute details that, I couldn't predict, like the fact that my Brain Savant is extremely rare due to the fact that it increases in power exponentially over time. You have to remember the fact that if I get one wrong prediction, everything just goes berserk. They start calling me all the names that they call. On top of that, they start laughing at me and this and that, which means that me being able to predict every single thing right is about my Brain Savant report while being a liar and it not existing is like 1 in 1 trillion. So basically, yeah, but the entire time my dad, the Greedy Framer, was trying to get the courts to believe that, so for some odd reason, the Brain Savant actually did not even exist, and that that I was pretty much just lying and making everything up, and that there was no monetary value to this Brain Savant. But he took up the court's time each and every single day in order to play this game every single day, only for him to now, after offering all his sisters, each and every single one of them, and also offering his disgusting looking wife, oh my God, now he got yelled at by his in-laws after asking them if they were willing to sleep with me in exchange for money. You got to remember the fact that he's been lying and making false testimonies against me that could have gotten me a life sentence. November 20th, early January, early April. So this is not something where like a person's just like, oh, I was in love with this kid, I wanted him to live with me. No. You want someone dead, you're not in love with them. Obviously not. You obviously know about the money, and now we know that it was all about the money because he asked the in-law that he was trying to get to sleep with me if she was willing to sleep with me or not. But the thing that has to be asked is, why did you waste the court's time for almost a year till like about February 17th at 3:02 a.m. to basically mislead the courts into thinking that you didn't think that there was any money involved with my brain savant? Why did you do this? To finally now call a random person in your in-laws, get berated and yelled at by them for even asking them something that is so disgusting to ask. Obviously, the person on the other side is not going to think that they're getting money out of this. Common sense dictates what? Then if I really had this money, I would have billions of people running after me, first of all, and then I would just choose from one of them. Why would I go with one of my dad's in-laws to be giving all this money to or doing anything like that of that sort if I was that kind of a person in the first place? But it obviously they're gonna think that what, like he had sexual perversions for her, due to which he was asking for himself, basically indirectly using my name and using my brain savant, when in fact, in reality, we know in this trial that my dad, the greedy framer, is obsessed with this brain savant money. And he's obsessed with the fact that my mother would inherit it and he's not going to get a single penny out of it, due to which he begged his framer sisters in law enforcement to fabricate November 20th against me. He greedily called the courts, enviously called the courts, and started lying in early January, like, this is how Hassan committed this crime. November 20th might have been a lie, but this one is true. My sister witnessed him do this, only on February 10th to be told that even this crime was confessed to being a lie to the government informant for November 20th. And then he made more lies against me in April, saying the past two ones were false lies. But this time you have to believe me, and I'm going to abuse everyone in this trial while I'm making these statements, because this time I'm telling the truth. This is early April, and I'm telling you guys the truth. Hassan did commit this crime. All right, November 28th was false. Early January was false. I lied both times, but this time I'm telling the truth, and you guys better not try to find faults in my statements. And he kept doing this in early April till they basically had to retrieve every single phone conversation to find out that this man was making a mockery of national security just to lock up my brain savant, to make sure that no one could get the brain savant money that he couldn't get. And so, right now, basically, he's using his short stories again, where he would be like, this is what the FBI called me about when Hassan was overseas. This crime occurred. And the courts would just be like, well, Hassan had nothing to do with this crime. And he would just be like, what if he did? What if he was in the U.S. and Hassan committed it instead of this person? Like, the courts would just be like, but Hassan was in the U.S. before he went overseas, and he wasn't living with you overseas. In fact, you guys weren't ever even in the same country. He was living in the U.S. for years with his mother. He was nowhere even remotely close to any crime scenes. No one even remotely said anything even remotely considered bad around him for years before he went overseas. Forget any crime scenes, and he's never been in any crime scenes. And like right now, while he's playing this game, only because all his false testimonies have gotten caught of this what if game, even though it's not true. I've never been in a crime scene. And the other thing is, I was living with my mother for years before I went overseas, never even remotely present in a setting where anything even remotely considered bad could have been said around me, much less a crime scene, which I've never even remotely been present in. The thing about it is, now he's trying to use these short stories despite me never even living in the same country as him. Or even talking to him on the phone, making it impossible for him to have had any influence or effect on my life or environment whatsoever. So basically, these are some methods of basically fabrications, exaggerations, and misleading the court. But the one thing he really worked on misleading the courts and every single person else, like a pathological liar, since he lied about being a medical doctor, never gave his board exams in any country in the world. Infographics incident, the law enforcement knows about the infographics incidents where he basically lied to a hospital claiming that he was a medical doctor. They found out he never gave his board exams in any country in the world. He lied about going to college in Ireland, and there's no record of him ever going to any college in Ireland, meaning that he basically is not a physician's assistant. He just works reports to help out random doctors at hospitals. So basically, he lied about almost everything. He fabricated almost every testimony, fabricated it, falsified it, November 20th, early January, early April, every single one. But the one thing he really worked on every single day like a crazed lunatic and a pathological liar was he tried to make people believe that he did not think that the Brain Savant had any monetary value to it. Artificial intelligence was either lying or maybe artificial intelligence was confused. Brain Savant didn't exist. I might have had some psychic powers due to which I was able to guess what all the reports said. I'm a triple savant. I have instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, focusing. I was able to guess all of these things in the Brain Savant test report without anyone telling me, and also able to guess certain details like the fact that my Brain Savant powers increase exponentially over time, and the fact that when my ears go all the way back to my head, which I can't do right now, it's locked. But when it does, my brain on the inside goes like this, and my powers increase exponentially even more, making me 1,000 times more powerful than normal human beings. Also be able to guess in the report saying that when I drink energy drinks like on the afternoon of June 5th, my powers increase exponentially over time. All these things I've guessed being written in the artificial intelligence report for my Brain Savant. If I make one wrong guess, it turns out that it gets marked as a lie, makes my entire claim invalid, and they start calling me names. And you have to remember that statistical probability of me guessing every single thing correctly. I'm a triple Brain Savant with instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, focusing. My powers increase over time. When my ears go back, all the way back, right now it can't go all the way back. It just barely moves at all. But when it goes all the way back, like how it did on April 22nd, 2025, powers increase 1,000 times more, even more. Drink any kind of caffeine like how I did the afternoon of June 5th, 2025. I could bypass all the torture tools and my powers increase so much more. I get one of these things wrong from the artificial intelligence report, I get marked as a liar. My credibility goes away, and yes, the statistical probability of me guessing all of these things correctly from the artificial intelligence report saying this about my Brain Savant without the Brain Savant actually existing is like 1 in a trillion. Yes, it's just not possible. But let's say that whatever reason he thought that it didn't exist. For almost a year before February 17, 3:02 a.m., my dad, the Greedy Framer, has been deceiving the courts into thinking that he didn't think the Brain Savant even existed, except for the lies that he made to mislead and deceive the courts into giving a wrongful verdict against me, and this now short story that he was trying to make against me has nothing to do with me. And even if I was living in the U.S., you have to remember the fact that I was a member of PAL. Basically, PAL was made by really nice police officers for people like my mother, who was a fast food worker. Single mothers, they would, really nice police officers would actually watch children, and they would like take turns watching children for free, so that their mothers would come and pick them up. That was the entire point of it. No one, obviously, and so what ended up happening was, this became biggest piece of evidence for me. And so what ended up happening was, after I gained a slight bit of mental maturity, I wasn't seen anywhere near any of law enforcement's BFFs like Uncle Joey, that law enforcement try to exaggerate their words, not actions, by the way, just their words as much as possible while adults supervising me as a child when either my mother was working in fast food restaurants or in factories at nighttime. And I'm telling the truth on this, not only because of my mother saying it, but also due to the fact that my mother would never be present there. What are the chances that only me as a child would be present there, only until I would gain the slightest bit of mental maturity, and me being signed up at the PAL Center, which is mainly designed for kids of that sort who can't afford daycare? What are the chances that all of these would be true, and my mother not putting me anywhere that would watch me for free out of her force and necessity? Obviously, it's not true. It's true. That was the reason why. But the facts and evidence clearly prove that that as soon as I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, I've never even remotely been present in any settings where anything even remotely considered bad could have been said around me ever in my life for years before I went overseas. And it wasn't because we were tipped off or anything like that, because if we were, my mother would have said something, and she was in charge of my settings. But clearly, the force of necessity ended, and it was basically law enforcement tipping everyone off that they wanted to run sex games with, like Uncle Joey since the year 2001 with his in-laws, money fraud that were later on started to even run till about 2 months ago. So it wasn't anything like that. It was the facts and evidences clearly prove that from the moment I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, I've never even remotely been present in any settings where anything remotely considered bad could have been said around me ever in my life. And even before then, it could have only been something bad being said around me by one of law enforcement's own BFFs, only due to the force and necessity of a single mother while she would not be there and would be at work, obviously. So obviously my dad, the greedy framer, lied about November 20th, early January lies that were already confessed lies, early April lies that were lies from facts and evidences retrieved from phone conversations retrieved, and now was trying to lie about the short story thing when he knew for a fact I've never even remotely lived with him, even in the same country ever in my life, and never even talked to him on the phone, making it impossible for him to have had any influence on my life or environment whatsoever. But the one thing that we don't understand is just to try to prove that everything that he's done with all the lying and everything wasn't due to the money. He deceived the courts by wasting his time, the court's time, in listening to his dumb jokes about my brain savant, saying that it didn't exist, making up arguments and things of that sort of nature about my brain savant not existing, and even doing things like calling Miss Deb and telling her to not give me her daughter because my brain savant didn't exist, only to, after hanging up the phone with Miss Deb, calling law enforcement and saying, "Can you advertise my wife's niece?" And you know for a fact he did this himself, since he would have the American Girl put on my TV home screen to try to make fun of me that I wasn't interested in brown girls or whatever. So he was himself asking law enforcement to advertise his wife's niece to me. At the same time, he's calling Miss Deb and telling her that my brain savant didn't exist, only to hang up and then call law enforcement and say that he wanted to advertise his wife's niece to me, due to which Miss Deb ended up telling him, "Don't ever call me ever again. It's not appropriate for you to be calling me," due to the fact that Miss Deb realized this man was a psychotic liar who didn't think anything short of perfection for my brain savant, or did actually believe in my brain savant very strongly, while at the same time he was misleading Miss Deb into thinking he didn't believe in it, not only so that she wouldn't give me her daughter, but also due to the fact that he wanted someone to talk to, a woman that he wanted to talk to, basically, which is why he would call her every day till she told him to stop calling him. As soon as Miss Deb found out that he was also advertising his wife's niece to me while claiming that my brain savant didn't exist, clearly proving from his behavior that he did think it existed. So yes, he was the one who asked law enforcement, not anyone else, since he was having the American Girl put on my TV home screen at the same time. So basically, the thing about it is, why did he waste so much of his time and the court's time into thinking that my brain savant didn't exist, when right now, after trying not just his sister's, his ugly looking old wife, but now even his in-laws, to try to see if he could find someone that I could sleep with in order to get these illegal assurances of money, trying it every single day to try to check to see if I would be willing to do so, or not, and every single day pretty much, and trying it every single day, only to stop doing it after August the 13th due to that woman clearly telling him to never ever ask her this question ever again. Obviously, he believed very strongly in my brain savant, And he really did think that obviously he knew that it existed and he wanted the monetary benefit from it. Now, the thing about it is, he was trying to deceive the courts for almost a year before February 17 at 3:02 a.m. into believing that it didn't exist every single day, making jokes, taking time out to say all these things to make it look like, oh no, I don't believe in it. I just don't get this man. He's a pathological liar. I get that he lied. He's not a medical doctor. He never gave his board exams in any country in the world. Okay, you have to ask law enforcement what the infographics incident was, please. He tried to go sign up at the hospital as a medical doctor, and then they found out that he didn't have a license in any country in the world. He didn't go to a university in Ireland like how he claimed. He just worked for regular doctors, not as a physician's assistant, just someone who helps doctors out at hospitals. And that was like first set of lies that he made. And then now he lied about November 20th, created mass panic and chaos against me. Early January, confessed lies before November 20th. Early April, phone conversations, every single one had to be retrieved. Facts and evidences clearly proved that not one statement he made was true. And now the short story that he was trying to exaggerate against me, only to enviously lock up my brain savant after all his lies got caught. And the short story, by the way, has nothing to do with me. I could not have statistically have had anything to do with it. Even if I was in the US, I would have lived my life like how I was. My mother forced it to live like after I gained a situs bit of mental maturity. Obviously, the facts and evidence has clearly proved that I wasn't even remotely in any settings where anything remotely considered bad was said around me after that time, much less a crime scene, which I've never been in my entire life, not even remotely. So basically, yes, he lied about all these things. But the thing that we just don't get about this pathological liar, my dad, the greedy framer, why he lied about this is, why did he lie about my brain savant for almost a year in order to deceive the court? So through February 17th at 3:02 a.m., it just kind of puzzles everyone. Like, this man is a pathological liar and he is psychotic. No doubt about it. He's very delusional. But I mean, right now, he just humiliated himself by asking his in-laws if they were willing to sleep with me or not, and they yelled the crap out of him. Like, how would you even ask me this question? You have to understand the person on the other side, why they would yell the crap out of him. Mainly due to the fact that obviously if there was money involved, then he could have just asked after the money would come. So if he's asking right now, then it basically means that he's asking for himself and not me, which means that he has his own sexual perversions, which Miss Deb realized, and Miss Deb yelled at him. She was just like, you cannot call me here anymore, please. You're a married man, and so am I. Due to the fact that he was advertising his niece to me, his wife's niece to me, while claiming that Miss Deb shouldn't give me her daughter. Like, it was just like, why would you even do this? But the thing that we don't get about this pathological liar, my dad, the greedy framer, is why would you lie about something like my brain savant that you believed in so strongly that you just humiliated yourself in front of your in-laws who yelled the crap out of my dad, the greedy framer, saying, why would you even ask me something like so insane and strange to sleep with Hassan when this is incredibly inappropriate? Why would you even ask me something like this? If he is willing to do something so inappropriate to humiliate himself and ruin his reputation, my only question to him is, why did he spend an entire year deceiving the courts on a daily basis into thinking that he didn't believe in my brain savant every single day till February 17th at 3:02 a.m. when the government told him my brain savant was about to get freed, in which time he makes up his list of things that he wants in monetary value from my brain savant? The question I want to know from this pathological liar, this delusional man, it just puzzles me. Why would you lie every single day about my brain savant that you didn't believe in it when you believe in it so strongly that you're willing to ruin your reputation in front of your own in-laws by asking such an inappropriate and strange question as to, are you willing to sleep with Hassan in exchange for illegal assurance of money? Why would you do this to ruin your reputation when you claim for an entire year till February 17 at 3:02 a.m. that you didn't even believe in my brain savant monetary potential. And now that he sees that it was getting freed anyways, why would he ruin his reputation to ask such an inappropriate question like, what would you be willing to sleep with the son in exchange? I will get him to give you illegal assurance of money, when you spent the entire year every single day telling the courts that you didn't even believe the monetary value existed for this brain savant. The question I want to ask him is, why did he spend every single day for almost a year till February 17 at 3:02 a.m. and misleading the court and thinking that he didn't think that there was any monetary value to my brain savant? Why did he do this every single day for almost a year into misleading the court and thinking that he didn't even think that there was a brain savant or that it had any monetary value? Why did he do this when right now he's tried every single person he could, his sisters, his ugly old wife, and now even humiliating himself in front of his in-laws, asking them inappropriate questions like if they're willing to sleep with me or not, only to try to get this illegal assurance of money one way or another? Why did he spend an entire year misleading the court into thinking that he didn't even believe that my brain savant had any monetary value to it? It's the question that I want to ask him, when right now he thinks that there are not millions but billions of dollars involved, considering how he's just ruined his reputation asking his in-laws if they're willing to sleep with the woman over there, are willing to sleep with me or not, in exchange for illegal assurance of money that he would then get to them from my brain savant if they would sleep with me. Clearly he's ruined his reputation for the rest of his life. Why would he do this right now, when if he has been, why did he lie about not believing in my brain savant monetary potential for almost a year, when right now we found out that he's a strong believer in it? Why did he lie about this? And despite him believing in it very strongly, and he lied about not believing in it every single day just to mislead the courts, is what I want to ask from this man, this psychotic, deranged individual who's a pathological liar. This question I really want to know from this man.